Welcome back to the Impact 1 Million podcast, From Success to Significance. I'm your host, Shar. Today we're joined by CEO Trevor Farnes. Mountain Operations was founded in 2014 and is the leader in outdoor performance, energy and nutrition, and is specifically formulated for outdoor athletes such as hunters, military and tactical personnel. Additionally, Trevor created Operation Conquer Hunger, which stems from his family's own struggles with food insecurity as he worked to overcome challenges early in his career as an entrepreneur. Trevor, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Shar. It's a privilege to be here. I'm honored.
It was so eye-opening, I guess, to research you and watch a few of your videos. But for people that haven't heard about you and your journey, Trevor, please take us through how it all began.
Wow, yeah, it all began. I always like to start 20 years ago when my wife and I got married, and my responsibilities in life started to change. I was now a husband, and then within about a year and a half, we had our first child, and so I was a father. And all of a sudden, life's just coming at you fast, right? And my responsibilities were to provide, preside, and protect. And I felt like I was doing a decent job in many regards. And providing. I was selling pharmaceuticals, making a good living, and we were putting a lot of our money away to ultimately start our own business. That was the goal. I come from an entrepreneurial family and wanted to, spread our wings and see if we could do it on our own at one point. And so in 2007, we went out and tried our wings, and we invested in real estate. And had I known the 2008 market crash was coming, I would have run the other way. And then the other opportunity we took advantage of was within a franchise, a retail franchise. And instead of buying one franchise, my wife and I decided to go big, and we bought 7, which was a mistake. We learned a lot through it, but that came with 7 build outs of stores, 7 franchise fees, 7 inventory purchases, and hiring 7 managers to manage these stores. And then icing on the cake, we got to sign personal guarantees on all the leases for these locations. We were running these, and these were 5-year personal guarantees, anywhere from $5 to $7 grand a month in rent. And then 2008 happened right as we opened up these stores. Some things happened on the franchise level, and the franchise actually had to shut down about 3 to 4 months after we opened. And so we had to pause the operation. And we found ourselves in a world of hurt, all of our cash out on these investments, and just didn't know what to do. These landlords were not easy on us because they were now in this difficult situation within real estate where they couldn't replace us in these locations. So instead of working with us, they put liens on our homes if we couldn't pay and such. And so we ended up, with a lot of liens on our house, struggling to pay the mortgage. Actually didn't pay our mortgage for about 2 years, and there was foreclosure letters coming all the time, default letters. Ultimately, our house up for auction, and somehow we stopped that from happening. Just time and time again, we'd see little miracles. But during that, the grocery bill was the thing that was on our mind all the time. We have little children at the time. I've got 4 children, and they had to eat. They had to have the basic needs and necessities. And so that was the struggle for me, really, was just how to provide the basic necessities during those times. Time and time again, I tried multiple different businesses, and they just didn't work. And they were very transactional. I'm a very mission-driven individual, and so I wasn't really attaching myself to a mission, and that's what I needed. What I found in life is that mission-driven individuals can endure the pain and the suffering. And mountain ops, it's all about conquering the mountain. And so mission individuals can conquer the mountains that are in front of them. They can stand the test of time. And I ended up finding something that I could attach myself to. And I read a book called No More Heart Disease. My dad had 2 stents put in his heart at the time. My one grandfather died of a heart attack, another of a stroke. And so we had a history of heart disease in the family. And I read this book, and it talked about all these natural ingredients you could use to help increase blood flow. And I thought that's exactly what my dad needs. He just had these stents put in to increase his blood flow. I took the book to a chemist and asked him to create a concoction for me that I could put my dad on. And he created this, put my dad on it. Within about 3 days, he could start to feel the sensation in his fingers and his toes. And so after about a month, it was really improving in a major way. In fact, he was supposed to have open heart surgery 5 years after the stents put in. were put in. And now it's been 13 years, hasn't had the surgery. His heart's doing fantastic. But I knew I was onto something, and that's my introduction to supplementation. The ops in Mountain Ops actually stands for Outdoor Performance Supplements, because we've ended up focusing our attention on the outdoors. People that love getting out, hiking, biking, climbing, hunting, and the mountain in the Mountain Ops represents the mountains that we have to climb. And there's opportunities to supplement our strength and our nutrition in those mountains that we climb in life. And so we actually ended up first starting to sell through doctors' offices with that product that we created for my father. And it was a slow, steady growth. This was in 2010, 3 years after we had those major upsets in those businesses where I'd just been feeling like a failure. And now I had something to attach myself to, this product that was changing my dad's life. But then through these doctors' offices, we were helping a lot of their patients. And so that mission meant everything to me. And even while we were still climbing the mountain, trying to pull ourselves out of these financial struggles, I had a product that was changing lives, and I could really sink my teeth into that.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm sure friends, you're listening there going, wow, right? What a story. And, story of determination and a lot of resilience and mindset and drive as well. And it comes back, of course, for being there for your children. But then when you saw what that did for your dad, it's like, well, I need to help more people with that. And so
Yeah.
As much as we don't ever want anyone, if you're listening, we don't want you to go through adversity. However, my story different but similar in the sense of what happened, but the drive for me to get through it, it does make us who we are. And it does push us forward. And then when you realize you had this product that was helping your dad, you realize you needed to get it out to more people. That's where we start to create impact in the world, because we are making it about other people. So take us through what happened there. That opened the doorways for you. And then what was the next step?
Yeah, so we originally started the business selling as a heart health product. And then about 4 years later, still doing well with it, but still really just getting by, needed some help with branding and marketing. And I partnered up with a few individuals that were really doing a ton of their marketing in the outdoor and hunting industry. And so I just asked them when I met with them, is there a place for these products that I have created, mainly heart health related, but is there a place for these in the outdoors and in hunting? And their eyes kind of lit up, and they said there's a major hunter and outdoor athlete movement right now with brands like Under Armour, Yeti, Sitka, and there's not a consumable brand with a product like yours that's kind of leading the way. So we took the products I had formulated and we rebranded them under this new brand, Mountain Ops. And it was incredible. I was an outdoorsman growing up, but not a hunter. And so I didn't quite understand the community that we were going after, that we were involved with. It's a community that typically doesn't take a lot of supplementation. They love what they do. They love their passion, but they're not typically in a gym. They're in God's gym. They're not in GNCs buying product. They're just, the thing that stood out to me the most, especially during this, was they were going out on the mountain to bring home food for their families. And I have just come off this 7 years of famine with my family where I was struggling to provide food for them. So I thought, okay, if I can fuel this passion of the hunt, but also get into it myself, I now have a way to provide for my family by going out onto the mountain, clean protein that I can bring home to them. And so there was this immediate spark of, okay, here's an opportunity as a father to provide. And I did that and I loved it. And started to bring home food that way for my family. But this also sparked something during those struggling times. My wife and I, we're a faith-based family, faith-based organization. We leaned on our faith and our faith in Jesus Christ, and we turned to the miracles in the Bible. And one of them that stood out all the time was when he took a few loaves and a few fishes and he multiplied them for the masses. And my wife and I made a commitment to each other that as soon as we had a few loaves and a few fishes, not when the boat came in full, but as soon as we had just a few resources to work with, we would try to multiply them for those that were going through what we were, hunger issues. And so we didn't think it would be to multiply for the masses, but we thought we're going to have some resource at some point and we've got to do good by it. And we've got to be good stewards over that resource. And so we started hunting, we started selling supplementation. And while people were paying good money to supplement their nutrition, and they were out on the mountain bringing home food from their hunts, there's plenty of people in our own community here and throughout the world that can't even fathom a meal or two a day. And this was a reality to me because in my community here in Utah, where I live, just north of Salt Lake City, it's 1 in 4 kids that go home without enough food in their pantries. And that was my family. We were the 1 in 4. And so I understood the need. I understood through those challenging times, through the mountains that we climbed, the perspective that it gave me of what was out there, how families were struggling, because my family was the family. And oftentimes we would receive groceries on our doorsteps, or we'd receive an envelope of cash. And that just made a world of difference. I don't know who those people were, but they understood my struggle, right? And we wanted to come to the rescue for others that way as well. So we started through Mountain Ops, what we call Operation Conquer Hunger. It's a beautiful system. People come to our website or they go to a retail store, they buy a product of ours to help benefit their life. And it's supplementing their nutrition. But at the same time, when they do that, we take a portion of those funds that come through that order, and we donate it to our Operation Conquer Hunger to buy food, and we pack meals for children in need, children and families. And we do that here in the United States. We do a lot here in Utah locally, but then we go internationally as well to some of the most impoverished nations of the world. And we try to find those vulnerable children and family that need our help and our support. I love a quote I read once, not too long ago, that says that you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. And so through those trying times that we went through, we gained that perspective and eyes to see the need. And now we're trying to respond in a unique way. And at the end of June of this year of 2023, we will hit our 5 millionth meal donated through our Operation Conquer Hunger. So we really have taken a few loaves and a few fishes. We've built a community. We've built a team of incredible individuals who really have this passion to help and improve lives. And through that, we have multiplied those resources for the masses, for the millions. And it's inspiring for me to watch what, in my opinion, what God has allowed us to do and how he's guided the steps along the way to give us this calling in life, to improve lives in so many unique ways, to help people conquer more each and every day. And when we give these meals to these children, it usually happens through the schools. They go home and obviously they have food to fill their bellies, and that's important. But what we're really doing is we're removing a distraction that they have on a regular basis, which is hunger. And when we remove that distraction from them, we're inspiring hope and confidence within these young children that there is a bright future ahead, that somebody loves them, somebody's aware of them. And as a father going through that, that's what I wanted my children to always know, that they had all the opportunity in the world to progress and to obtain and achieve the things and to contribute in life the way that they would want to and the way that they should. And so that's what we hope to pass on to the next generation, that yes, conquering hunger, but also giving them this ability to just conquer more in life.
Oh my goodness. I hope everyone heard the number that Trevor just said. He said 5 million meals by mid-year this year. My goodness, that's a lot of bellies. That's a lot of bellies, you know.
It is a lot.
5 million people standing in one space. That is a lot, and that is such a big impact, you know, and that's what this show's about, is impacting 1 million. You've impacted 5 million so far, plus all the people, of course, that your nutritional product has helped and probably saved, you know, with the health side of it, with the heart. So Trevor, you know, when we set out to do big goals, it sounds like you and your wife are similar to me and my husband, where we put everything in and we put everything on the line. You know, we're in a media agency, so we do television shows, podcasts, magazines, books. And we're working on the biggest project we've ever worked on in our life at the moment, actually. And we're launching a big coffee table book that's going to feature 100 experts from all over the world. And we're launching it in Times Square, New York in May 2024. And our vision behind it is to bring together 100 different diverse voices. Because something that we find in the media space, in the mainstream media space, is it can be quite same. They're portraying similar types of celebrities with similar types of success. What they don't share is when everything did blow up in your life, in my life, in someone else's life? What were the things we did? What fueled us at 2 a.m. when we're sitting there crying, going, how am I going to feed my family? I've been in that situation, right? As we talked pre-podcast, I could have written a book on 101 ways to cook rice and pasta, right, to fill a belly. And and it's those moments that in this coffee table book, it's going to be available all over the world in print. And
That's incredible.
Thank you. We want people to be able to walk in there and pick it up and flick to any page. And they may not resonate with my story, but they might resonate with yours, or there's someone from, Africa. And I think that's what's needed. But if someone's listening to this, Trevor, and they're saying, wow, you've been so courageous, you invested in all of those things prior to 2008, you made those decisions. Take us back to the moments where you've kind of gone, I've got to go all in with this. What is that mindset? What are the fear, the anxiety, the excitement? Talk us through those emotions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was something that we had kind of talked about and dreamt of and we'd prepared for. So it was like, there was a lot of preparation. There was years of preparation in advance to that. And fortunately, I worked in a very entrepreneurial environment with my brothers. I worked for them, from my 21 to about 26 years old, just learning from them. But it was an environment where you ate what you killed. Like I had a phone book that I called on my leads, and stuff like that. And so it was all commission based. So I got a little taste as to what it was like to make it on your own and make it on your own accord, and to really have to put in the effort and the time. And my wife got a little bit of a taste as to what it would take to be the wife or the spouse of an entrepreneur that was going to make these sacrifices and to try their wings. And so, because I mean, it didn't always go well with our commission either. We built up a good commission, but there was ups and downs. And so we had to learn to kind of roll with the punches and to learn where our source of strength came from. Ultimately, going through that and then going off on our own and facing the mountains that we had to climb, there was times, like I mentioned, where the failure set in and I just did not feel like I was meant to do this on my own. And in all reality, I don't know if any of us are meant to do it on our own. I think it takes connection. And what I learned was that connection to my family, especially my wife during that time, and her loyalty to me and her motivation and her encouragement, not making me as her husband feel like a failure while I did, that was an incredible strength. That if we can give that to each other in life, man, I wish everyone had that kind of strength within the walls of their own home. I had that from her. And then as my kids got a little bit older and they understood what we were going through, the prayers of faith that I would hear them sharing on my behalf for their father. And I'd find them on their knees and I'd ask, 7 years old, my oldest daughter, I remember finding her on her knees and saying, "What were you doing?" And she said, "I was praying, Dad." And praying for what? That things will go better for you, And so I had that type of strength from my wife and from my little kids. And then connection as we built a team. Interdependence is a huge part of Mountain Ops and what we've built here, because I could have never done this on my own. It takes team. It takes each of us coming together with our individual strengths, and collectively we can do so much more than we could independently. And I've come to find that those connections have meant so much for me. Ultimately, the first and foremost, the greatest connection in my life is my connection with God. And through those trying times, turning to him and finding strength, peace, power, confidence, whatever it is, through that connection, there was an ability to connect and conquer. And so that for me has been the most important thing to learn and to grow by, is that there are connections out there that each of us need. And when we get on path, we get on purpose, those connections come about in an incredible way, and they kind of light the way, they encourage the way. And I've just been fortunate to find those connections, one step along the way, that have been so needful for me to be in the position that we are now. And once you climb that mountain, you find there's another one. So there's always going to be these opportunities for growth. And I would just hope that those listening see those mountains that they're climbing as opportunities to grow. And if you're climbing a mountain right now, one of my favorite quotes is, "They rise highest who lift as they go." Make sure to look behind and lift up, and you will climb to great heights. And especially if there's things that you've experienced in your life, that creates empathy for those around you. Use those perspective moments as a way to format and to formulate your mission in life. I feel like that's been the greatest way for me to to know and understand what somebody needs because I've been there, and how can I utilize that perspective to really come to their aid.
Yeah, I love that. God, friends, I'm sure you've taken lots of notes. There's so many great points there that you shared, Trevor, and you phrase it differently, but we talk a lot about, this book we're doing. It's a community project, and you say it differently, but essentially, we think it's time, and obviously you have felt this as well. It's time we send the elevator back down.
Yeah,
We can't just keep climbing, keep growing, and we've got to look back and send the elevator back down and bring others on the journey and teach them and guide them and support them. And we talk a lot in our company around community.
yeah,
It's so much about the community, the 100 people coming together from all over the world for this book. They're
it's
standing there
amazing.
for way more than just sharing in a book. It's going to be on the billboards, it's going to be global press releases. They're standing there to impact 1 million lives, 100 people going back into their world to impact 10,000, 100 times 10,000 is 1 million. People
So
often go,
amazing.
how are you going to make a big difference? How are you going to, well, this is how we do it. We do it by bringing a community of people who say, this is more than just me being in a book. Yes, that's part of it, but it's actually about me sharing my lessons, my life, my legacy, my impact, my knowledge, my 2 a.m. moments, the times where things haven't gone well, the times when they have gone well. We are allowed to celebrate, and we encourage it because we do encourage and inspire others when we step up and share our voice. And I think that's probably what I love the most about having a media agency. I've got a platform for any type of voice, be it written in a magazine or a book, be it on a TV show, be it on a podcast. I want to get people like you out there because I know someone will listen to this particular show and resonate with something you've said, and that will shift their dial maybe 1%, and it allows them to fuel themselves and keep going, right? And as
That's
human
awesome.
beings, that's what we're meant to do. And when we go from success to significance, which is the catch cry of this show, we all reach, and success, I don't ever like to determine just based off money, because I know
Yeah,
people that have got money that don't feel successful. It can be health, happiness, bellies full, right? Families that are,
yeah,
that are sustained and nourished and happy. And so there's any way you define success. But there's a time in our life, Trevor, where we go from success to significance, and you've already done it. It's where we start to give back and support others and make a real difference. And when we think about our time here on this earth, it is, even if you live to 120 with your supplements, it's still a minute.
yeah,
Comparison, it's still a minute, and it can go like that, and we don't know when. And I often think, like, when the pandemic happened and we were running our media agency, I knew I was called to do something even bigger. And my word for that year, last year, was impact. And I didn't even know that I was going to do this book. And we're terming it That Impact Book. And we've got a .com just to make it easy. But, we're kind of making it a catchy thing, but it's all about that impact. I didn't know that word, when I stood on the beach on the 1st of January last year, was going to turn into the biggest project I've ever done in my life. And so there can be little sparks of ideas that when we read a book, we listen to a show, we watch something, sometimes it's just those little keywords or phrases, and you will understand this. They just speak to you, and they speak to
yeah.
your, and it's that vibration you get, and you were meant to hear this right now. And you said earlier about opportunities knocking. What has been your experience? Because sometimes opportunities will knock and people weren't expecting it, and they just sort of go, oh no, not now. But actually, maybe it's knocked because the universe, God, can see a bigger picture than what we can. So what are your thoughts around when opportunity knocks? What has been your experience, and what advice do you give to others?
If it aligns with your mission, and here at Mountain Ops, I've taken my own personal mission, my own core values, and I've infused them into an organization to create our culture. Our mission is to improve the lives of individuals and families. We have decision making guardrails that help us in that mission, and those are our core values. And so I say, when an opportunity knocks, if it aligns with my mission and my core values, then I open the door wide open. And especially if it's an individual on the other side of that door that can help enhance the mission, then it's like welcome in. And I feel that way every time we add somebody to the team, or a new partner or a new customer that's coming in the doors, and they align. what I found in life is I'm most happy, I'm most fulfilled when there's alignment in core values and a goal and a mission that's above and beyond ourselves. And so that's my biggest thing, though, that I do put guardrails up because there's a lot of doors, there's a lot of things we could do, but that doesn't mean that we should do them. So it really has to align with the strategy that we put in place personally as an organization. Does it meet the needs of the mission? And can it enhance that by living true to the core values? And then, like I said, the door swings wide open. And you said it really well earlier. Success comes in so many different ways, and a lot of it for me here in this organization is the relationships that are built and the people that are developing along the way. And during those struggling times, a friend of mine once said, "Success is knowing that those who know you best love you most." Has nothing to do with money, but those who know you best and they can see you through your pitfalls and they can see you through your failures and your lack of confidence or whatever it is, but they love you most, even because they see that. And to me, that's how you then ultimately build community. You open yourself up genuinely and authentically to individuals, to relationships, to opportunities that the doors open up to. And as long as you're being genuine and true to who you are, those divine qualities, and you're welcoming it and excited and celebrating those of others as well, now those doors that open, they become so incredible. And you can't always predict those. You can plan for certain doors that you want to see open, and sometimes that happens. But what I found in life is that as I let God prevail, that so many more doors and so many more, beautiful opportunities and beautiful people and everything come into my life in an incredible way if we just let go of some of that control and let it happen, let it be. But it comes down for me, like being true to who I feel I am, those core values, and the mission that we've said that we've committed to. And then we can focus in and see that achievement take place. So, and it comes down to contribution. Sorry, not achievement. Like you're saying, to go to this place of impact and is, for me, the more we're contributing, the more impact we have.
Definitely. And that's legacy. That's legacy right there.
Yeah.
You'll be remembered for years to come. 5 million meals so far. And I'm sure a lot more to come. So, Trevor, I know people are going to want to reach out to you. What's the best website to find you on?
Our website is just like my shirt if you're watching, but if you're hearing, it's mtnops.com, and same on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn and such. It's just Mountain Ops, MTNOPS.
Fantastic. Trevor, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much for your time.
It's been fantastic. Thank you. Appreciate it.